The cave glowed with a soft, otherworldly light. Crystals embedded in the stone pulsed like beating hearts, casting ripples of violet and green across the damp walls. In the center of the cavern stood a pedestal carved from black stone, and atop it rested a vessel, smooth, translucent, and filled with liquid that shimmered like molten stars. Elias drew closer, his boots crunching against the crystalline dust. His breath fogged in the cool air. He could feel the vessel humming, as though alive, as though aware of his presence. "You shouldn't touch it," said a voice. He turned. She stood in the shadows, a woman, though not human. Her skin was a silvery hue, her eyes glowing faintly gold, and a cascade of markings traced down her arms like living tattoos. Her movements were graceful, precise, almost too fluid to be natural. Elias tightened his grip on the satchel slung over his shoulder. "You're the guardian?" She nodded once. "I am keeper of the Elixir of the Veil." It was sealed away so that none might misuse it. Elias took a step toward the pedestal. "I came across half the galaxy for this. I'm not turning back now." Her gaze hardened. "Do you know what it is? What it does?" "I know it can save my people." His voice cracked slightly, but his resolve did not. Earth's collapse isn't a distant threat anymore. We've poisoned the air, drained the oceans, burned the soil. The elixir, it could heal what we've destroyed. I'll take that risk. She stepped into the light then, her expression solemn. "You don't understand. This is not medicine. It is transformation. If you drink, you will never be human again." The words struck the cavern like thunder. Elias froze. "Never human again." The guardian's eyes softened, almost pitying. "Your body will change. Your blood will be rewritten. You will become something other. Something that bridges the realms of flesh and energy. Once taken, there is no return." Elias looked down at the vessel, the starlight liquid swirling gently as if beckoning him. His heart pounded. He remembered Earth, what was left of it. Cities suffocating under smog. Oceans turned to sludge. Forests cut to stumps. Children coughing beneath a sun dimmed by ash. He had seen his little sister, Meera, lying weak in a hospital bed, her lungs failing from the poisoned air. She was only 12. "If you drink this, you'll never be human again." But what was humanity, if not the will to sacrifice for others? Elias raised his eyes to the guardian. "If it saves them, I don't care what happens to me." Her golden gaze searched his face, weighing his truth. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then she stepped aside. "Very well, but know this. Once you cross the veil, there is no going back." Elias approached the pedestal. His reflection shimmered in the liquid, his tired eyes, the streaks of dust across his cheek, the stubble of someone who had lived too long on desperation. His hand trembled as he lifted the vessel. It was warm. He thought of Meera, of the millions gasping on Earth's poisoned soil. Then, without hesitation, he raised the vessel to his lips and drank. The liquid slid like fire and iced down his throat. His body convulsed, muscles locking, vision exploding with light. He dropped to his knees, the vessel clattering to the stone. His scream tore through the cavern, but it was no longer a human sound. His skin blazed with energy, veins of light spreading outward. His bones felt as though they melted and reformed, his mind expanding beyond the cage of flesh. He could hear, feel, the crystals humming around him, each note a vibration of existence itself. And then it was over. He rose, trembling. His reflection in the shards of crystal was no longer entirely his own. His skin shimmered faintly with iridescence, his eyes burned with starlight, and energy coursed through his veins like rivers of fire. The guardian watched him with unreadable eyes. It is done. You are no longer human. Elias flexed his fingers, sparks of light trailing in their wake. His chest ached, not from pain, but from the immensity of it all. Maybe not, but I'll still save them. The guardian led him to the cavern's mouth, where the night sky stretched across an alien horizon. Stars glittered like 1,000 promises. You carry the veil now, she said. With your touch, you can heal, reshape, restore. But beware, the power is not endless. Each act of creation will cost you a piece of yourself. Elias nodded. Then I'll give everything. The journey back to Earth was long, but Elias no longer felt time the way he once had. Energy thrummed within him, keeping him awake, alert, driven. When at last his ship entered orbit above the scarred blue sphere, he felt his heart twist. Earth looked broken. He descended into the wastelands where Meera's hospital stood, its walls cracked and its roof patched with metal sheets. As he walked through the ruined streets, people stared, not just at his shimmering form, but at the aura radiating from him. Warmth, light, something they hadn't felt in years. Hope. Meera lay on her cot, her breathing shallow. When she saw him, her weak smile faltered. Elias? What happened to you? He knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Doesn't matter. I'm here. I can help. He placed a glowing hand over her chest. Energy flowed from him into her frail body. Her breathing steadied, her skin brightened, her eyes widened in shock as air filled her lungs without pain. She sat up, laughing through tears. I can breathe. Elias, I can breathe. Around them, others gathered, their eyes wide with desperate longing. Elias looked at their gaunt faces, at the children clutching their mother's hands, at the ruins of a once proud world. He rose. I will heal this. And he began. Days turned into weeks. Wherever Elias walked, life returned. Rivers once choked with sludge ran clear. Forests sprouted from barren soil. The sick rose from their beds, coughing out poisoned air only to breathe deeply again. But each act left Elias weaker, thinner. His body shimmered more with light than with flesh. His reflection grew stranger, less human, more radiant. Yet he pressed on. You're fading, Meera whispered one evening as she held his glowing hand. Elias smiled faintly. I'm becoming what I need to be. Months later, Earth was no longer dying. Oceans glistened blue, skies stretched clear, and green covered the once barren wastelands. Humanity rebuilt its cities with newfound hope. But Elias was no longer among them. He stood at the edge of a mountain, overlooking the reborn world. His body was a silhouette of light, his features barely human anymore. Meera stood beside him, tears in her eyes. You gave everything, she whispered. He rested a glowing hand on her shoulder.
No.
I gave what I had. Humanity gave the rest.
Keep building.
Don't let this second chance go to waste. And with that, Elias stepped forward. His body dissolved into radiant streams, scattering like starlight across the winds. His essence sank into earth itself, binding his sacrifice to its soil, its water, its breath. From then on, when the wind rustled through the forests or the river sang over stone, humanity swore they heard his voice. I am still here. Always. He was no longer human, but in saving humanity, he became something far greater.